했어. 처음부터 그저 도와니까. 자꾸 그 아이가 생각나. 나에게로 돌아올 수 없는 남자.
Hi, Israk21 here. Today, I will recap a movie called Two Mothers. Two Mothers is a 2017 Korean segggs drama film about two mothers who makes love with their sons. They swap their sons to make love intentionally every day. Okay, what's the continuation of the story? Watch out and take care. This is a spoiler content video. Enjoy the video and let's start the story. The film starts with a making love scene. When the liquid came out, it turned out that it was just a wet dream. This handsome guy named David, and he was staying at his friend's house named James. After that, David went to the bathroom to wash his underwear. But suddenly James's mother named Melinda came and took David's underwear to be washed. From behind James appeared who saw the incident. He immediately mocked David. So, both of their mothers are widows who have a hobby in the arts. Melinda likes to paint while David's mother, Sakura, likes to play music. David often stays at James's house because he really wants to learn how to get a girl, because James is known to be very good at dealing with girls, and the girl that David has a crush on is their classmate named Devi. Actually Devi likes James, but James didn't have feelings for Devi, so he reasoned to go to work. Now just the two of them. David is really stupid here when it comes to girls. He should have been able to get making love with Devi. But Devi left because he didn't like David when he's talking.
이런 병신 새끼. 주대 무슨 팝빙.
James, who reasoned to go to work earlier, it turned out to be secretly going to David's house to clean Sakura's workplace. So James has a crush on his friend's mother, Sakura, but Sakura doesn't have the same feelings for James because Sakura only thinks of James as her son's friend. Sakura wonders why James always comes to his house when David is not home. On the other hand, Melinda is seen painting her boyfriend who is not wearing clothes like in the Titanic movie. And because they feel hot they finally do a making love scene. David, who had just arrived at James's house, even heard the sound of making love, which made him curious. As a result he also witnessed Melinda who was making love with her boyfriend. Suddenly James came to the house and called his mother. So they were all shocked. Luckily David helped them by throwing Melinda's boyfriend's clothes while distracting James. In the end, James didn't know that his mother had just made love. Then James told that today is the birthday of David's mother, namely Sakura, so they rushed to David's house to celebrate. The next day, Melinda was seen in the car with her boyfriend and it turned out that her boyfriend had decided to break up with Melinda. Since then, Melinda seems to be so upset.
사실
On the other hand, James, David and Devi were drinking alcohol. Devi was feeling very hot to the top, but James didn't want to serve Devi for making love. So James left from the room. Devi couldn't stand it anymore, so she changed her target to David. Devi immediately told David to make love with her, but David is so stupid because he pretends to be holy that he even refused Devi's invitation to make love. Really swore even though his pants were already open. When David came home, he was so confused, because he just regretted that he refused Devi to make love, even though that's what David wanted for a long time. Suddenly Melinda came who was also upset because they had just been dumped. So they also confide in each other. Suddenly Melinda feels hot and wants to make love, so he said to David, "Before you make love to Devi, you practice making love to me first. Do not be shy." Finally Melinda taught David how to make love properly and correctly. Since that incident, David, who knows what it feels like to make love, then utilize every chance he gets. He secretly goes to Melinda to ask for making love again, and even though Melinda refuses it, but David, who doesn't give up, in the end he always manages to enjoy Melinda's bottom cave. One day, Devi suddenly came to David. She was angry because David had refused her making love invitation. Now because David is smart and good in making love, finally he managed to make love with her until they were satisfied. Because Devi was very satisfied, Devi even comes every day just to make love with David, and finally the seeds of love grow and they are dating. On the other hand, Melinda met her ex-boyfriend and he asked her to date again. But here Melinda doesn't want to go back anymore and chooses to be single. It turns out that David saw Melinda and followed her to the house. David tried to comfort Melinda by asking for making love here. But Melinda said, "We can't be like this, go on. You are my son's friend and I'm your mother's friend. So don't be like this anymore." After that, David was really upset. He was in a very dilemma between choosing Melinda or Devi. So David asked Devi to meet. They discussed about love. But it turns out that Devi doesn't really love David. She said that she likes David because he can make love to her until feeling satisfaction. After hearing that, David dared to break up with Devi. On the other hand, Sakura was seen holding an envelope containing a divorce certificate. But Sakura was still reluctant to accept the fact that her husband now didn't want to live with her anymore. James, who saw it, tried to say that Sakura should be able to accept this fact. Because actually there is another man who is ready to love Sakura as she is, and that man is him. After hearing that, Sakura was really surprised because she had never looked at James like that. She was looking at James as just a friend of his son. But James, who was in love with Sakura to death, finally couldn't back down anymore and he poured out all his heart to Sakura. Because James never gave up, finally Sakura dares to open his heart, and they did a making love scene for the first time. But before they are satisfied, suddenly from the outside, David was seen coming home. And he was shocked to see his friend making love with his mother. So David got emotional and immediately beat up James. Sakura tried to stop him and apologized to David. She said that this was just their mistake. But James immediately said that he knew that David was also doing the same thing with his mother, namely making love. So David couldn't say anything else. Finally James went to bring Sakura. Maybe they continue making love that was stopped earlier, huh? In the end, James is dating Sakura now, while David was still very upset because he had just broken up and seen his mother making love with his friend. David decided to go to vent to Melinda's house. He told all the events earlier at once. He also now expresses his love for Melinda. And it turns out that Melinda also has the same feeling. So that finally they are now also a mother and son couple who make love every day. And the movie of two mothers is over. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it. Please give me thumbs up and click the subscribe button. See you on another video.